This boy's name is Seichi. Currently, he is in a world different from Earth. Suddenly, a beautiful girl appears in front of him. She immediately hugs Seichi. This causes him to have a nosebleed. And she says, "Marry me." This shocks Seichi, because this beautiful girl is proposing to him. Seichi recalls his past. It turns out that Seichi was just a chubby and unattractive boy at school. So, he was often bullied. Suddenly, everyone hears an announcement from someone claiming to be a god. This surprises them. The god says that he will take them to another world. And that place is different from Earth. He promises to grant them special skills and attributes. But, Seichi realizes, this is like playing a role-playing game. At that moment, the god tells everyone to form groups. But, no one wants to team up with Seichi, because they see that his skill points are too weak. After everyone finishes forming their groups, the god then transported them to another world. This shocked Seichi, because he still hadn't formed a group with anyone. The god noticed that Seichi was the only one without a group, so, he gave Seichi a special skill. After that, Seichi was also transported to another world. At this moment, Seichi was feeling very hungry. He was exhausted, because he hadn't eaten anything for 5 days. Suddenly, Seichi saw a worm. When he wanted to eat it, something fell on him. This caused him great pain. But, Seichi realized it was a fruit. This made Seichi very happy. However, he didn't know what kind of fruit it was. So, Seichi immediately used appraisal on it. It turned out to be the fruit of evolution. He thought that eating this fruit would allow him to evolve. So, he decided to try eating it. But, it was very hard to eat. In the end, Seichi managed to finish it. Suddenly, he heard the voice of the system. But, he didn't know who was speaking. Suddenly, he saw a group of monkeys gathering the fruit of evolution. He realized they were level 120. While he was only level 1. He didn't know what they were doing. As soon as the monkeys left, Seichi immediately took their fruit of evolution. Suddenly, he discovered some high-grade healing potions. This made Seichi very excited. Meanwhile, Seichi's classmates had been transported to a kingdom. This made them very delighted, because it was a completely different world. While Kanazuki was worried about Seichi, since he had been sent to a different place than them. At this moment, Seichi was appraising a mushroom. But, he couldn't appraise it. He couldn't tell whether the mushroom was poisonous or not. However, Seichi still ate it. Suddenly, he became paralyzed. So, Seichi ate a fruit of evolution to recover. It turned out that a week had passed, and he had eaten the last 2 fruits of evolution. This made Seichi feel regretful. Suddenly, the system announced that he had acquired the skill poison resistance, and his appraisal skill had also leveled up. This surprised Seichi. Suddenly, a monkey attacked him. This injured him. So, Seichi immediately drank a high-grade healing potion. Then, Seichi continued fighting the monkey. Very quickly, he was defeated. Seichi thought he was about to be eaten. But, the monkey smelled his armpit odor, and it instantly died. Suddenly, the monkey's corpse turned into numerous items. He received many new skills. This surprised Seichi, and he saw a knowledge book. Suddenly, the system announced that he would begin evolving. This caused Seichi great pain. When Seichi woke up, he realized his body had become slimmer. This shocked him. He even gained 1000 points in all attribute points. So, Seichi thought he was hacking the game. But, his evolution progress was only 10%. Seichi didn't understand why his level was still level 1. At this point, Seichi relied on the monkey's knowledge book to help him survive in the forest. A level 311 wolf attacked him. But, Seichi defeated it. He didn't understand why he was so strong despite being only level 1. Thus, Seichi continued receiving many items and skills. At this point, he read the wolf's knowledge book. He saw a black area marked on the map. So, Seichi decided to go check it out. Suddenly, the system announced that he would evolve further. This caused Seichi immense pain. At this moment, he only had 1 evolution left. Seichi didn't know what he would become after completing his evolution. Suddenly, a troop of monkeys surrounded him. A giant monkey appeared. It wanted to challenge Seichi. This made him nervous. So, he used appraisal on it. This shocked Seichi, because the monkey was level 775. He realized it was the king of the monkeys. When the monkey attacked him, Seichi dodged. This excited the monkey, because Seichi was the first to avoid its strike. So, it continued attacking Seichi. This injured him. Meanwhile, the Monkey King was thoroughly amused. Because Seichi was still alive, it felt that Seichi was very manly. And it introduced itself as Sarya. This surprised Seichi. Since Sarya was acting like a beautiful girl, Seichi attacked her. But Sarya countered with an incredibly strong strike. Luckily, Seichi managed to dodge it. At this point, Seichi decided to try using magic. He summoned a sword and cast water magic. Unexpectedly, the water fell on him. This left Sarya confused about what he was doing. So, Sarya continued attacking Seichi. This severely injured him. Seichi thought he would die there. But he remembered everything he had been through. So, he decided to keep fighting. Seichi recalled his armpit odor move. Thus, he used it again. Unexpectedly, it made Sarya feel delighted. Sarya then expressed her desire to marry Seichi. At this point, Sarya took Seichi to her home. She said she wanted to marry Seichi. But Seichi explained that they were two different species. However, Sarya didn't understand. This made Seichi frustrated. Seichi felt hungry. So, he decided to try Sarya's food. Surprisingly, the food was delicious. This delighted Sarya, because she thought she had become Seichi's wife. This annoyed him. At this point, Seichi wanted to find a way to escape. But Sarya kept watching him closely. Seichi asked why Sarya could speak human language. It turned out she had found 2 books. He realized the books taught various life magic techniques. At this point, Sarya wanted Seichi to call her his wife. This left him feeling helpless. He didn't know how to get out of this situation. Later, Sarya took Seichi to catch fish. When he tried to escape, Seichi saw a spider. This scared him. So, Sarya quickly smashed the spider to save him. At this moment, Seichi realized that Sarya truly cared for him, even though they were from 2 different species. This made Seichi feel guilty. After that, they returned home. Sarya told him that today was the searching festival. She would take her troop of monkeys to search for the fruit of evolution. Seichi realized that he had previously stolen their fruit of evolution. Sarya said, if Seichi ate the fruit of evolution, he would become the leader of his species. But if he ate more than 11 fruits of evolution, he would die. This made Seichi worried, because he had already eaten 10 fruits of evolution. Meanwhile, Sarya was angry, because someone had stolen 10 fruits of evolution from her. So, Sarya said she would kill the thief, which frightened Seichi. He immediately confessed to Sarya. But she wasn't angry, because Seichi was her husband. This left Seichi feeling helpless. At this point, Sarya went hunting. So, Seichi realized it was the perfect time for him to escape. Meanwhile, Seichi's classmates were being trained in swordsmanship by the kingdom's hero. It turned out that previously, the king had ordered them to defeat the demon king, because in this world, they were considered heroes. But first, they needed to train. At this moment, they were frustrated, because they hadn't had any real combat experience yet. Meanwhile, Seichi was thoroughly enjoying himself, because he thought he had gained his freedom. But Sarya immediately chased after him. Suddenly, he ran into a cave. When he went inside, Seichi saw a skeleton that was talking, which amused the skeleton, because Seichi was the first human to come here. So, it thought Seichi was very strong. Seichi realized this skeleton was level 1500, which surprised him. The skeleton then attacked Seichi. Unexpectedly, Sarya blocked the attack for him, leaving Sarya gravely injured. He didn't understand why Sarya sacrificed herself to save him, because they weren't the same species. Moreover, he had said many harsh words to her. But Sarya thought Seichi was very kind, and being by his side made her very happy. Meanwhile, the skeleton found their love shallow, which made Seichi angry. So, he attacked the skeleton, and Seichi said that he liked Sarya. When he used magic, unexpectedly, the skeleton could absorb his magic. Suddenly, Seichi moved very quickly. He then used his new skill to attack the skeleton. So, Seichi won. The skeleton realized he had lost. But thanks to Seichi, he had been freed with his lover. At this point, Seichi was very worried about Sarya, because she was about to disappear. However, she still really wanted to be Seichi's wife. When he kissed Sarya, suddenly, she transformed into a beautiful girl, which surprised Seichi. At this point, Seichi opened the skeleton's chest. He found clothes for Sarya. Suddenly, Seichi learned many new skills. And he continued to evolve, which caused Seichi a lot of pain. At this moment, Sarya saw that Seichi looked much more handsome. So, he decided he would leave the forest. Suddenly, a sheep appeared. It introduced itself as the manager of the maze. Because Seichi had passed the maze's challenge, it would give him the seeds of the fruit of evolution. And it also gave Sarya a new dress. Meanwhile, Seichi was given a helmet. The sheep said the helmet had special powers. Seichi hadn't understood what this power was, when they were suddenly teleported out. At this point, Seichi and Sarya were very happy, because they would have a new adventure together. Seichi realized there was a town nearby. So, they decided to go there to register as adventurers. It turned out he was also looking for Kanazuki's group. Suddenly, they saw a slime. So, Seichi used appraisal on it. Unexpectedly, it was level 88. He didn't understand why the slime was so strong. So, he decided to attack it. To his surprise, Seichi was very strong. He felt like a monster. At that moment, they found a pair of shoes. And Seichi gained the skills absorption and compression. Suddenly, his helmet began to glow. And it transformed into a cloak. Sarya found a letter. The maze manager said that the helmet could evolve to suit Seichi. And Seichi's camouflage skill had leveled up, which would help him hide his enormous strength. Meanwhile, Sarya was very happy, because her new shoes were very beautiful. So, they continued on to the town. By the time they reached the outskirts of the town, the knight there needed to verify their identities. So, he used the camouflage skill to help them pass the identity verification step to get inside. When the knight knew Seichi wanted to become an adventurer, he introduced himself as Claude, and he promised to help Seichi and Sarya if they encountered difficulties. Eventually, Seichi and Sarya were allowed into the town. Then, they went to the Adventurer Guild. But, he saw that this place was full of eccentric people. Even the hall was filled with a bunch of crazy guys. They were very happy because Seichi wanted to join them. Ellis introduced herself as the receptionist here. Seichi realized that if he wanted to find his friends, he needed to join this Adventurer Guild. Suddenly, a group of thugs appeared. They saw Seichi as a newcomer. So, they wanted to talk to him privately, which made Sarya worried. When they saw Seichi's handsome face, they wanted to do a welcoming ceremony for him, which caused Seichi to fear and run away. At that moment, he returned, which surprised Gussel and Ellis, because he was the first person to escape from those three thugs. Ellis said, Seichi and Sarya had to take a test, and Altria would be their supervisor. It turned out she was an A- rank adventurer. But, Altria refused to be their supervisor. While Seichi was only looking at Altria's chest, she thought Seichi was too weak. But, Gussel said that he had easily escaped from the group of three thugs. So, Altria agreed to supervise them. At that moment, she said that Seichi and Sarya needed to do some chores before the test. First, she took them to help at an orphanage, which made Sarya very happy. Seichi and Altria saw a boy who had fallen. So, Altria took care of the boy's injury. Suddenly, the wooden planks fell. Luckily, Altria managed to catch them in time, which surprised Seichi, because it seemed like Altria had predicted this. At that moment, Altria took Seichi to a ruin. It turned out their next task was to clean up the area. Suddenly, Seichi touched a wall, which caused the ruin to collapse, making Altria worried. She thought this was her fault. It turned out that since he was little, he had been carrying an unlucky curse, which caused the people around him to experience accidents. So, she had the nickname Altria the Calamity. It was surprising that Seichi was still alive, which shocked her. So, she scolded him for being too careless, because being an adventurer was a very dangerous job. Seichi apologized to her, but she was very happy that Seichi was safe. Their final task was to walk a dog, which scared Seichi, because it was a wolf. By the afternoon, they had returned. Gussel paid them their fee. At this point, Seichi and Sarya realized they still didn't have a place to stay. So, Altria told them they could come to her inn, which made Seichi and Sarya excited. The next morning, Altria started the test. Seichi and Sarya needed to collect 10 herbs around the area. Seichi thought it was an easy task. So, he ran off. At this point, Sarya had completed the test, while Seichi had picked 10 poisonous mushrooms, which made Altria angry, because she told him to find 10 herbs. This made Seichi worried, so he continued searching, but Seichi still couldn't find any. Suddenly, he heard 3 people talking, so he planned to ask them about the herbs around here, which surprised them. They thought Seichi had overheard the demon tribe's plan, so they wanted to capture him. They called out a giant troll, and it attacked Seichi, but he easily blocked the attack. It turned out that Seichi had absorbed its power, which scared them. When he was about to ask about the herbs, they immediately ran away. In the end, he still hadn't completed the test, which made Altria helpless, so she gave Seichi her herbs to help him pass the test, which made Seichi very happy. At that moment, the 3 of them went back to report to their leader. It turned out that they had set many teleportation traps to send humans into the Black Dragon God's maze, which excited Leia. At this point, Seichi and Sarya were going to do the final test. They needed to defeat 10 slimes. Altria asked where Sarya's weapon was. It turned out her weapon was her fists. When the slimes appeared, Seichi attacked it. Surprisingly, the slime disappeared, which amazed them. Altria realized there was a trap here, so she told them to temporarily stop the test. Unexpectedly, Altria stepped on a trap, which caused them to be teleported away. Altria didn't know where they were. She recognized Seichi and Sarya for saving her, so they were also teleported here. Altria felt they were very kind. Suddenly, she gave Seichi a piece of compass stone. It could help him find lost teammates. Unexpectedly, Altria stepped on another trap, which caused them to be separated. Altria was very worried, so she ran off to find them. Meanwhile, Seichi still didn't know how to use the compass stone. Suddenly, the stone flew ahead, which disappointed them, because the compass stone didn't help at all. So, they decided to run back, while Altria was fighting with a mummy, which caused her to be injured. But she defeated the mummy. Meanwhile, Seichi and Sarya got lost. Suddenly, they found a chest. However, Seichi didn't want to open it, because he thought it was a trap. Suddenly, the chest told them to open it, which surprised Seichi and Sarya. When it attacked them, Seichi shot water magic at it, which made it disappear. At that moment, they found a book. It turned out that due to human progress, the chest had gradually been forgotten. After that, it learned human language and magic, to be able to interact with humans again. But it was seen as a demon by people. At this moment, Sarya felt sorry for the chest. Seichi saw a legendary ring. The luck of the person wearing the ring would be halved. So, Seichi thought it was useless. Suddenly, the compass stone began to glow, while Altria had already defeated the monsters. To find Seichi and Sarya, unexpectedly, she entered the Black Dragon God's room. So, he attacked Altria. On Seichi's side, the compass stone continued to fly into the wall. So, he realized Altria was behind this wall. But the wall was too hard, which made Seichi's hand hurt. Meanwhile, Altria had been knocked down by the Black Dragon God. However, she didn't give up, and she was determined to find Seichi and Sarya. So, she activated her Calamity Curse, allowing her body to be surrounded by fire. But the Black Dragon God was still stronger than her. In the end, Altria was defeated. When she thought she would never meet Seichi and Sarya again, suddenly, they appeared to protect Altria, which surprised her. Altria didn't understand how they got there. It turned out Seichi realized Altria was in danger. So, he broke through the wall with a punch. After that, they ran to Altria's side. While the Black Dragon God had also been defeated, it turned out Seichi had hit him when rushing in, which shocked Altria. Seichi then gave Altria a high-grade healing potion. After that, he decided to fight the Black Dragon God. When the Black Dragon God attacked him, Seichi countered the attack, but he was knocked back by him. He discovered the Black Dragon God was level 5000. So, he continuously attacked Seichi, which caused him to get injured. Seichi didn't understand why his absorption skill was nullified. When the Black Dragon God was about to finish Seichi off, Sarya reminded him to use the magic from before. So, he used water magic, which nullified the Black Dragon God's attack, which made him angry. Suddenly, he controlled Seichi. making it so he couldn't move. Unexpectedly, Seichi unlocked the intimidation resistance skill, allowing him to move again, and he defeated the Black Dragon God, which made him regret losing once again. Suddenly, the system announced, Seichi kept leveling up, while Altria was also fine. So, they felt relieved, but they didn't know how to leave the maze. Thus, Seichi checked the Black Dragon God's items, and he ate the Black Dragon God's gem, which boosted his overall power. Unexpectedly, he unlocked space magic, so they realized they could go back. Suddenly, Seichi discovered a cloak. It helped him resist many physical skills. Then, he read the book of the Black Dragon God. Long ago, the Black Dragon God was a protector of humanity. But, humans wanted to steal his resources to make weapons. After that, the Demon King saved him. So, humans summoned a hero to defeat the Demon King. And the Black Dragon God was sealed inside this dungeon, which made Seichi cry, because the story of the Black Dragon God was so moving. Suddenly, he received a letter from the dungeon manager. The manager congratulated Seichi on conquering the dungeon, but he would continue to conquer more dungeons, which made Seichi angry, because he was struggling, while the manager was enjoying a vacation. After that, they returned, which made Sarya very happy, because they were all fine. When Altria woke up, she saw Seichi carrying her, which made her feel guilty, because her calamity curse had dragged Seichi into it. It turned out Altria had -2 million points of luck, which surprised Seichi. Altria feared she would continue to bring calamity to them, but Seichi and Sarya were still determined to stay with her. When they returned to the guild, she saw Gussel practicing. It turned out he was also preparing to search for them, because they had been missing for several days. Altria realized that everyone cared about her, which made her feel touched, and she ran away. So, Seichi chased after her. Meanwhile, Leia heard the news that the Black Dragon God had been defeated, which surprised them, because the Black Dragon God was a powerful being, second only to the Demon King. So, she didn't know who had defeated him. While Seichi was looking for Altria, he found her at the ruins from before. At this moment, Seichi comforted Altria, because everyone cared about her. But, Altria was still worried. Suddenly, he hugged Altria. He promised he would always be by her side, which made Altria very moved. At this point, Seichi felt very bold, but he smelled Altria's fragrance, which made them both feel embarrassed. Suddenly, Seichi remembered the unfortunate ring he had picked up. So, he put it on Altria's finger. It turned out this ring could transfer luck stats. It helped increase Altria's luck stat by 4 million. Thanks to that, she was no longer calamity. It made Altria very happy. And she fell in love with Seichi. She thought Seichi was proposing to her. It made her embarrassed and run away. The next morning, Seichi was worried, because Altria was avoiding him. It made him not understand why. But, Sarya thought she didn't hate him. Seichi asked what Sarya was going to do this morning. She said that she would go help the orphanage, while Seichi would go gather information. It turned out that he wanted to learn more about this world. Later, he went to meet Gussel. He told Seichi that the kingdom was gathering heroes to fight against the Demon King. So, Seichi thought that he could find Kanazuki's group there, while the king was angry, because Guilford had not yet seriously trained the heroes. Thus, he decided to send them to Barbador Magic Academy, so that he could easily manipulate the heroes. The king even wanted to make them wear slave collars, while Altria was feeling embarrassed, because her heart always raced whenever she met Seichi. At that moment, Seichi was in the library reading books, so that he could understand more about this world. Suddenly, he unlocked many new skills. Thanks to his instant learning skill, it made Seichi helpless, because he had too many magic skills. At this moment, Seichi felt hungry. Suddenly, he smelled a very pleasant fragrance. So, he went to Counter Cafe. Finally, he was able to eat. It made Seichi feel delighted, because the food here was very delicious. Meanwhile, Altria didn't know what to do, because her emotions were very chaotic. Suddenly, she met Adarina. So, she had a conversation with Adarina. She realized that Altria was in love, and the ring she was wearing symbolized eternal love. But, Altria knew that Seichi had Sarya. Adarina said that she was truly in love. So, Altria also wanted to let Seichi know about her feelings. Adarina then promised to help Altria. At this moment, Seichi was talking to the people in the cafe. They said that if a man gives a ring to a girl, it shows that they promise to love each other forever. It shocked Seichi, because he would be executed if he lied to that girl. So, he told Seichi to hurry up and get married. But, Seichi already had Sarya. The cafe owner advised him. Seichi should be clear with them. So, Seichi knew what he had to do. And he immediately left. At this moment, Seichi went to the orphanage to find Sarya. He didn't know what to say to Sarya. Suddenly, he met Altria. Seichi thought she was angry with him. When he was about to explain to Altria, suddenly, she kissed Seichi. It surprised him, and she said, "I love you." This surprised Seichi, and Altria wanted to be with him. While Seichi didn't know how to explain to Sarya. Suddenly, Sarya saw them. This shocked Seichi. She told Seichi to accept Altria. It surprised him, because for Sarya's species, strong males always attract females. So, this was normal, and she also liked Altria. So, Seichi accepted Altria's feelings and said, "I love you." It made all three of them very happy. And everyone came to congratulate Seichi. The next morning, Gussel congratulated Seichi for becoming a high-level adventurer. So, he told him he needed to find a horse. After that, Seichi went to buy a horse. It turned out that both Sarya and Altria were busy today. So, Seichi had to go alone. At this moment, he arrived at a horse shop. The shop owner thought he wanted to participate in the Royal Capital Cup. It turned out to be a horse racing competition. Then, he introduced Seichi to the fastest horse there. This shocked Seichi, because it looked really stupid. So, the shop owner continued to introduce another horse to Seichi. But, Seichi realized it was a donkey. And it wasn't friendly at all. Suddenly, he unlocked the all-language comprehension skill. And he heard the donkey speak. It only allowed those it recognized to touch it. Suddenly, it attacked Seichi. But, Seichi grabbed its leg, making the donkey concede to him. At this moment, the donkey acknowledged Seichi as its master. This surprised him, but he accepted. This made the donkey very happy. And it told him its name was Lulun. After that, Seichi bought Lulun. This made her very happy. Suddenly, Lulun felt hungry. So, Seichi bought food for her. They found the food here to be very delicious. At this moment, they had met the girl selling paintings. It turned out that earlier, Seichi had bought a painting from Mei, because he thought her paintings were very beautiful. This made the young man excited, because he could also appreciate the beauty in her paintings. So, he introduced himself as Clay. He was the son of a duke. It turned out that Clay wanted to invite Mei to the painting competition, but Mei was still worried. So, Seichi told her he would also participate in the Royal Capital Cup. If he ranked high, Mei could use that as courage to join the painting competition. Clay said that, if he won, the prize would be a legendary fish called tambulai. And it tasted very delicious. This excited Lulun. After that, Seichi prepared to participate in the Royal Capital Cup. He noticed that everyone here was very enthusiastic. While Lulun really wanted to eat the tambulai fish, it was unexpected that the prize for this year's champion would be to spend one day with the Valkyrie team leader. This shocked Seichi and Lulun. While everyone else was excited, Lulun only cared about getting 5th place, because they wanted to eat the tambulai fish. At this moment, Mei and Clay also came to cheer for Seichi. When the competition started, everyone immediately set off. Unexpectedly, Lulun was walking very slowly, which confused Sarya. It turned out that she had skipped breakfast this morning. So, Lulun was very hungry. Seichi immediately looked for something to eat. He realized he still had the fruit of evolution. So, he gave it to Lulun to eat, while the others were running very fast. This girl could even summon a pack of wolves to hinder others. This made them worried. Suddenly, they saw Seichi overtaking them, which made everyone excited. So, Lulun charged into the wolf pack, and she defeated the lead wolf. This made everyone afraid of Lulun. So, they decided to give up. In the end, Seichi and Lulun won the championship. This helped Mei regain her confidence, and she decided to participate in the painting competition, while Lulun was very disappointed, because she didn't win the tambulai fish. But, Seichi thanked her for Lulun helping him win. This made Lulun very moved. Suddenly, Lulun evolved, which surprised Sarya and Altria, because Lulun turned into a beautiful girl. Altria saw Lulun, which made her angry. So, Altria hit Seichi. It turned out that Altria didn't believe Lulun had evolved from a donkey. But, Sarya still believed Seichi was telling the truth. And she transformed into a monkey to show her. This surprised Altria. So, Altria took Lulun to get a new outfit. This made her very happy. Suddenly, two girls came to find them. It turned out they were from the Valkyrie team. Unexpectedly, they used magic to tie Seichi's hands. This surprised him. So, they led him away. Meanwhile, all the team leaders of the Demon King gathered. Suddenly, Lucia arrived. So, the team leaders stood up to greet her. It turned out she was the daughter of the Demon King. She said the purpose of this summoning was for the demon race to form an alliance with the Welmberg Kingdom. This surprised everyone, because the demon race and humans had been at odds for many years. In fact, humans had sealed the Demon King. But, everyone opposed it. Leia revealed that someone from the Welmberg Kingdom had defeated the Black Dragon God. It turned out that Leia had previously summoned the soul of the Black Dragon God. He told Leia that he had been defeated by that man, and he had no regrets about it. This shocked everyone. At this moment, Lucia only wanted to restore peace, so that humans and demons could live together peacefully. While only this one person disagreed, all the other team leaders followed Lucia's orders, and they threatened to kill him. This made him angry, and he ran away. So, everyone obeyed Lucia's command. This made her very happy. Meanwhile, this person was still upset. He was determined to destroy Lucia's plan. At this moment, Seichi was being led into the kingdom's castle, because he had won the prize of spending one day with the Valkyrie team leader. But, he didn't understand why they had tied his hands. It turned out they were just joking with him. So, they had untied the magic for Seichi. At this moment, they took him to the kingdom's training grounds. Suddenly, Seichi saw everyone fighting against Louise. This fascinated Seichi, because she was very beautiful. Unexpectedly, she was also very strong, and she immediately defeated everyone. At this moment, she came to Seichi's side. Suddenly, Louise handed him a sword. It turned out she wanted to spar with Seichi. This shocked him. Meanwhile, Seichi's friends had been taken to Barbador Magic Academy. Suddenly, a group of people wanted to challenge Kanazuki to see who could defeat more monsters. When this young man approached Kanazuki, she slapped him in the face. This made him angry. Suddenly, they left, but they wanted Kanazuki to pay the price. Meanwhile, Seichi was fighting against Louise. Unexpectedly, he was able to dodge her attack. This surprised her, so she decided to get serious. But Seichi dodged every attack. When she decided to use her finishing move, suddenly, the system announced that Seichi had unlocked the skill World Eyes. Thanks to that, he was able to dodge Louise's attack, and he defeated her. This amazed everyone, while Seichi was also surprised by this new skill of his. Suddenly, Louise declared Seichi as her master. This shocked him. At this moment, Asterio wanted to speak privately with Seichi. She said that Louise was born a swordsmanship genius. Suddenly, Louise also arrived. She said Seichi had saved her. It turned out that Louise had been very skilled in swordsmanship since she was young, and she could easily defeat knights. But she had no friends. This made Seichi remember his lonely days. So, he accepted being Louise's master. Unexpectedly, he had unlocked the teaching skill. When Louise asked him to teach her swordsmanship, suddenly, they heard an announcement that the king had been attacked. So, Louise's group went to provide support, but they were worried about involving Seichi. So, they told him not to participate. However, Seichi refused to sit still. He activated World Eyes. This helped him spot the assassin. This surprised him, because it was just a child. But the assassin's speed was incredibly fast. He discovered the assassin's name was Origa, and she was only an 8-year-old girl. So, Seichi met Origa. She immediately attacked Seichi, but he caught her throwing star. Suddenly, his reflective defense skill automatically activated. So, he threw the throwing star back at Origa. But she managed to dodge it, and Origa continued to attack Seichi. At this point, he didn't understand why a little girl like Origa would become an assassin, because she kept attacking. Seichi knocked Origa out. At this moment, Louise's group arrived. When they found out the girl was an assassin, they were shocked. Suddenly, Louise told Lorna to interrogate the girl. This made Seichi worried. It turns out she was Ellis's disciple. When Seichi learned that the king still hadn't woken up, he was surprised. It turns out that Origa had used a cursed knife to attack him. Seeing Louise worried, Seichi found a way to break the curse. At this point, he asked Louise to take him to the king. This surprised Seichi, because the king was the man he met at the cafe. Then, Louise introduced her older brother, Balls. Balls said that his magic couldn't break the curse. So, Balls asked Seichi to save the king. Then, Seichi tried using his magic. He told the king to get well. This surprised everyone. To their surprise, Seichi succeeded. It turns out the magic Seichi used was inverse magic. It turned the curse of eternal sleep into eternal health. So, the king woke up. Everyone was very happy. The king realized that Seichi had saved him. So, he wanted to reward him. Seichi made a request from the king. Meanwhile, Guilford was asking the king of the Kaiser Kingdom, where had he sent the heroes? It turns out he had put a slave collar on them and brought them to Barbador Magic Academy. This surprised Guilford, while Kanazuki's group was feeling isolated at this academy. Suddenly, these three guys continued to provoke her. So, she drove them away. It turns out that Helio had lied to them earlier. This is the bracelet that unlocks the hero's power. This made the three guys excited. So, they thought they were the strongest ones here. But, Kanazuki didn't want to talk to them anymore. Thus, she told Kenji and Shota to leave. At that moment, Seichi was bathing with the king. Meanwhile, Louise's group was also bathing. They recalled Seichi's request to the king. So, they thought Seichi was very cool. It turns out he wanted to be the training target for swordsmanship and magic with Louise's group, while Altria's group was also worried, because she was afraid Seichi would bring another girl home. But, Sarya was very optimistic. At this moment, the king told Seichi his dream. It turns out he wanted to build public baths all over the world, so humans and demons could bathe together. Meanwhile, the king of Kaiser learned the news. The king of Welmberg and the demon tribe had allied. So, he sent his assassin to assassinate the king of Welmberg. At this moment, Altria's group was searching for Seichi. Suddenly, Louise arrived. So, Altria thought Seichi was seducing another woman. When Balls learned that these three girls were Seichi's wife, girlfriend, and servant, it surprised him, because Seichi would make many other guys jealous. Meanwhile, Lorna was interrogating Origa, but she still wouldn't reveal anything. While Seichi was observing from outside, he saw Lorna take out a very tempting dish, which made Origa unable to resist the temptation of the dish. Suddenly, Seichi barged into the interrogation room. They did not accept Lorna using any form of interrogation. So, Louise would cut her evening short. This shocked her. At this moment, Louise untied Origa, and they gave her food, which made her very happy. Louise noticed that Origa's collar was a slave collar. They would obey any commands from the person who wore it. Seichi asked why she didn't take it off. So, Origa demonstrated it for him, which made him feel that it was really cruel. At this moment, the king of Kaiser heard that Origa had been captured. So, he ordered Helio to kill her. Meanwhile, Guilford felt that this kingdom was rotten. He didn't understand why he was protecting this kingdom. It turns out that earlier, Guilford had met an assassin. He said that the soldiers had killed his wife, just because she was from the demon tribe. So, he wanted to take revenge for his wife. And he realized that Guilford was just a puppet controlled by the king. This made Guilford angry and he tried to attack the assassin. When the assassin shot many arrows at Guilford, unexpectedly, Guilford blocked them. The assassin realized he was no match for him. So, the assassin left. At that moment, Guilford felt like a puppet. Meanwhile, Seichi was trying to unlock Origa's collar, and he used inverse magic. By accident, he thought of President Lincoln. So, a statue of the president appeared. Unexpectedly, he unlocked liberation magic. This caused Origa's collar to break, which made her very happy. So, Origa started crying. Seichi didn't know what to do. Luckily, Sarya comforted her. At this moment, Origa told them her tribe had been enslaved by the Kaiser Kingdom. So, the children in her tribe were trained to be assassins. And Origa had to carry out assassinations by the king's orders. This made her feel guilty, because she had killed many people. But, Seichi comforted Origa, because she wasn't a bad person. So, he would treat Origa like his little sister. This made Origa very happy. But she was afraid, if Origa stayed with them, they would become targets of the Kaiser Kingdom. But Seichi said that he would protect Origa. It turns out that earlier, the king had agreed to let Seichi protect Origa. This made him very happy. The next morning, Balls was guiding Seichi to control his magic. But he felt it was too difficult. It turns out that earlier, he couldn't control his immense power. Suddenly, Louise came to find Seichi. She asked Seichi to help her protect the king, because she had received news from the Black Knight. There were many monsters appearing at the kingdom's border. So, she had to go there to help the Black Knight. The next morning, Louise said goodbye to Seichi's group and left. At this moment, Seichi had started to control his power. Suddenly, he unlocked a new skill. But he didn't know what the skill was. So, he felt like he was hacking the game a bit too much. Suddenly, Gussel and Ellis came to find him. It turns out they were bringing Barnabas to meet the king. This shocked Balls. Meanwhile, Seichi didn't know who he was. It turns out he was the greatest master of magic. And Balls was a huge fan of him. When he praised Balls, it made Balls very happy. But Seichi felt he talked too much. At this moment, they had arrived to meet the king. When Ronza saw him, it shocked him, because Barnabas was Ronza's teacher. At this moment, Ronza didn't understand why he came to find him. It turns out it was about his academy. Balls told Seichi that Barnabas was the principal of Barbador Magic Academy. Meanwhile, Kanazuki was practicing combat, which surprised everyone, because she was very skilled. At this moment, Barnabas said that, since the heroes came to his academy, there had always been trouble. Seichi realized his friends were there. Suddenly, they received an announcement. 5,000 monsters had appeared nearby. This made Ronza anxious, because all the monsters were at boss level. Meanwhile, Louise's group and the Black Knights were also facing the monsters. So, she was determined to destroy all of them. Then, Louise began fighting, which boosted everyone's spirits. Suddenly, Louise received an announcement. The capital had been attacked. It turns out it was the plan of this demon, because he wanted to keep Louise and the Black Knights at the border, so the monsters could enter the capital. At this moment, Seichi's group was also preparing for battle. This made Sarya very excited. Meanwhile, Lulun was worried, because if they couldn't protect the capital, she wouldn't be able to eat delicious food anymore. So, Lulun was determined to protect this place. At this moment, Origa also wanted to fight. Thus, Seichi told her not to push herself too hard. Suddenly, Origa asked. After everything was over, she wanted Seichi to pat her head. So, he agreed. At this moment, all the members of the Adventurers Guild arrived. They were determined to protect this kingdom. So, everyone stood up, which made Seichi worried. When he was about to help them, Barnabas told Seichi to trust everyone. Unexpectedly, Gustel's body was very tough. So, he and Ellis defeated many monsters. Seichi saw the strength of everyone, which surprised him. Unexpectedly, the cafe owner was also very strong. He easily defeated a boss monster. Ronza said that he was a legendary assassin. At this moment, Sarya turned her arm into a monkey's arm, and she punched the monsters down. Meanwhile, Altria used magic to attack them, which made Seichi feel relieved. Lulun and Origa also defeated many monsters. Suddenly, Barnabas began to act. He used magic to shoot at the monsters. But there were too many of them. So, he used a stronger spell. He created a tornado that blew the monsters into the sky. This shocked Seichi. He thought it wasn't his turn to fight. Suddenly, 3 more massive armies of monsters arrived, which made everyone worried, because their numbers were double the current ones. This made Barnabas anxious, because they were all S-level monsters. Seichi saw that everyone was struggling. Suddenly, he thought of a supreme spell that could destroy these monsters. So, Seichi began to use magic. After that, he used the judgment spell. This surprised Seichi, because he didn't see anything happen. Suddenly, the magic was activated and attacked the monsters. It turns out that the magic creation skill helped Seichi complete this spell. Lightning bolts continuously destroyed the monsters, while the others were unaffected. So, they had destroyed all the monsters, which made everyone very happy. Suddenly, Seichi continued to level up, which made him very tired. He could even combine skills together. So, Seichi didn't want to hack the game anymore. At this moment, everyone was very happy. Meanwhile, Origa wanted Seichi to pat her head. Suddenly, Barnabas felt very impressed with Seichi, and he asked Seichi to come to his academy as a teacher. This surprised Seichi, because Barnabas sensed Seichi's talent. But Seichi hadn't made a decision yet, because he still had his promise to wait for Louise to return, and he also didn't want to be apart from his wives. So, Barnabas suggested that they could also join his academy, which made everyone very excited. So, they decided to depart after Louise returned. At this moment, Seichi took Lulun out to eat. It turns out Seichi wanted to use this free time to go on dates with everyone. After that, he went on a date with Altria. Seichi thought she was very cute, which made him happy. The next morning, Seichi continued his date with Sarya. But she brought Origa along, because she didn't want Origa to be alone at home. Then, they all went on the date together, which made Origa very happy. Meanwhile, Seichi and Sarya felt they had been through a lot, and he thanked Sarya. Suddenly, everyone saw an announcement in the sky. It turned out to be an art exhibition announcement. So, Seichi's group went to see it. When Clay showed everyone his paintings, they didn't understand what he was painting. Next was Mei. When she showed everyone her painting, it surprised Seichi, because she painted Seichi to look like Napoleon. This made everyone very amused, and Mei saw Seichi as her hero. In the end, Mei won first place. So, Seichi went to congratulate her. But she said she would go to Amlia to study painting. And when she became a true artist, she wanted her first painting to be of Seichi. So, he agreed, which made Mei very happy. At this point, Louise's group returned safely. She heard that Seichi would be going to Barbador Magic Academy, but she couldn't follow him. Meanwhile, Kreese's plan had failed, which made the Demon King angry, because he had not been resurrected yet. It turns out the Demon King needed human despair to resurrect. This intrigued Kreese, so he decided to head to Barbador Magic Academy, while Kanazuki was worried about Seichi, because they still didn't know where he was. It turns out Kanazuki's group owed Seichi a lot, so they cared about him very much. At this moment, Seichi began his journey to Barbador Magic Academy. Thus, everyone came to say goodbye to Seichi's group, while Seichi felt that this world was amazing. So, he also thanked his wives. This is the end of today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe to support Oni-chan in the next videos. Thank you all for watching. Love all.